Welcome, my chingus, to episode 89 of This Week in K-Pop. In this episode, we will talk about Chen, Haze, Ryu Jae-hyun, CNBLUE, I.O.I, JYP, Laboum, Mamamoo, NCT U, Sam Kim, and TK. My name is Steven, and with me is my lovely co-host, Josh.
Hello.
And we both just came back from a wedding.
Yeah.
It was raining.
It was so rainy.
Nice wedding, though.
Yeah, it's great. It's beautiful. Close friend of mine, kind of a friend of Steven's. So if you're watching a video podcast, then you can see I'm actually decked out in wedding gear and not the usual cap.
And I'm just angry because my hair is all pressed down because
my hair is so flat and I'm not wearing a hat. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, but this podcast is not about hair. It is about K-pop. And This Week in K-Pop is a discussion podcast that covers the last 2 weeks of K-pop music video releases. In each episode, Josh and I will pick what we think are the best songs of the last 2 weeks. And this episode, I think we say this a lot.
Yeah.
And it's varying degrees, but this is one of the least impressive weeks in quite a while, at least in our opinion.
I would go as far to say this is the least impressive week that we've had so far.
In 2016?
This year, yeah.
Yes.
I would say so.
Definitely, it's been a really long time, even when we used to do the podcast every week.
Yeah.
And we changed to 2 weeks because sometimes there just wasn't enough songs to talk about. Yeah. We were forced to talk about songs that we weren't really that interested in.
Yeah, it became really negative.
Yeah, it's been a really, this is kind of that, if you were feeling like that.
Yeah. It feels like a 1 week podcast, not a 2 week podcast, if that makes any sense.
And sometimes it's a 3 week podcast because we suck.
But sometimes those ones are just loaded full of good songs, though.
It's true. But despite all that being said, we did very quickly, and we agreed on the best song this episode.
I feel like that's happened a few times this year already. You and I have picked one song that we have, said, this song is head and shoulders above the rest. This might be
Can you remember the other ones though? Without us looking it up?
Mamamoo was one. Mamamoo.
I Miss You?
I Miss You was one.
Was it? I don't remember, man.
Yeah, not off the top of my head. But
we suck. I'm sure our awesome listeners can remember, but we don't. But
we have the worst memory.
It's been a long day. It's 1 a.m. right now?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 12:10. But we have already talked about this song, so we were a little hesitant on including it, but the episode was so kind of meh that
dry.
We felt that we need to talk about this song because we really both love this song.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our last after show. It is by I.O.I with their pre-debut song, Crush.
All right. Come on, girls. Let's go. 내가 왜 이러니? 감아봐 여기. 나만 들려 honey. Wait just a minute. 난 썩어놨어 여기. 눈앞에 칠하지. 자꾸만 심장이 뛰는데 머리는 이성적이려고 해도 잘 안 돼. 널 보면 rush. 또 정신을 못 차려 큰일 나겠어 진짜야 자꾸만 이러면 너 때문에 어지러워 온종일 네 생각뿐 다른 건 못하게 돼 그동안 평화롭던 내 일상은 안녕 좋아하게 돼서 빠져들고 있어 이럴 줄은 몰라서 참나도 내가 놀라워 Oh my god 지금 내 심장은 crush boy 심장은 crush boy 보고 싶어 당장 너 right now 뱉고 맺고 꽉 잡아 꽉 막힌 도로 답답다 맘이 급해 난 oh my god 거기 좀 비켜줘 가길 옆으로 신호는 붉은 light 우리는 green light 자꾸만
Now, I.O.I, for people who don't know, is the group that was formed from the show Produce 101. and IOI is 11 members, and they're all from different companies. And if you haven't watched the show yet or listened to our after show from last week, I really recommend you do either of those, because this song, I think we mentioned in that podcast, and we said if this song came up,
Yes.
we would pretty much pick it.
We would auto pick it,
Yeah.
and we thought about it. We picked it.
Yeah.
And you know, some people don't watch the after shows. They only watch or
main
listen
podcast.
to the main podcast.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the last after show was about Produce 101. I thought we would talk for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
No.
2.5 hour podcast. So get your shit ready.
You know what? I think what had happened with that podcast is because we split it up into spoilers and no spoilers, and kind of we had
Music discussion.
Yeah, music discussion. And each one of those, I think we had like about almost an hour of just talking.
Yeah. But it's a great show.
Yeah.
Now, why do we like this song?
Yeah.
I really like this song because it has so many distinct parts, and they all. I think there's a little bit of Frankensteininess in this song. I don't think it's the smoothest song, and that's partially why I didn't really like it when I first heard it. But a lot of the parts have memorable parts in the entire song.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, because if you heard the small clip that Steven played, or if you heard the song before, this song does have very distinct parts. Like the chorus and the verse are very different from each other. But for me, I don't feel it's very Frankenstein-y. But I do know what you're saying, in that each kind of part, like chorus or verse breakdown, they have like some sort of catchiness or something that really, really stands out.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say it's a little Frankenstein. I think it flows very well together, especially now that I've heard it a million goddamn times. But the first few times it was jarring enough that I was like, man, that's a bit
It sounds
Frankenstein.
weird. Yeah. I think I was in the same boat, more so than you actually. When I first heard the song, I was like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And like just listening to the Produce 101 songs again, I was like, actually, you know, this song, I have to be kind of in a mood to listen to it. But overall, it's a really good song. It has a lot of like catchy parts in it. And especially, I want to point out the rapping part is really, really, really catchy for me.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, I don't think the rapping itself is particularly great.
Yeah.
But the way that they made them say it, and the way that it matches or counter matches with the beat.
Yeah, kind of like the rapping
great.
diction. Yeah,
Yes.
kind of like the rapping diction, like the way they form their words and the way they kind of have flow to the words.
Yeah.
It
It matches the song very, very well.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those weird things. Like, you know, some of the fun we always have is when we finish watching a video, we check YouTube comments, right? Not because YouTube comments are
No.
anything, but they're hilarious in itself sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where we're both like, oh my god, this rap was bad, or this rap was out of nowhere, or this rap was strange. But like, I think a lot of K-pop fans give a lot of extra points to when girls rap. They're like, that girl fucking slayed it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, if even remotely compared to any American rapper that was not even remotely close, right? They're like, that slay, yes! And I'm like, I think one of them was like a Nine Muses song, and I'm like, what world do we live, right? But that's to say, like, I don't think the actual rapping is great for rapping reasons. I think it was very, very well integrated into the song.
It really, really matched the song.
And it's very memorable. Like, it's very memorable. That's one of the main things that like I love about this song is that I think when Somi comes in with the, you know, her little
first,
off-tempo rap part.
Yeah, and like, so for me, in like a lot of like kind of hip-hop songs from the States, like, the rapping for some songs are just really, really terrible, but just like the catchiness or the diction or the way they say it, it just becomes a hit, right?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in popular kind of hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of benefits from that kind of same.
Yeah, no, I agree.
thing.
I think the producer did a really good job of like either changing the song a little bit to their strengths and or knowing what he wanted and getting it out of the girls. Of course, this guy also made our other most favorite Produce 101 song, The Fingertips.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can always check out that long-ass fucking podcast if you want to go about that. So let's move on to...
Oh, we should talk about the quote-unquote music video
you're right.
of it.
You're right.
So the music video is not really a music video. It's kind of more of a behind-the-scenes.
Yes.
And sort of choreography. I don't even know if you can consider that a choreography. They're kind of trying to do choreography, but they're just messing around.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the music video was changed, right?
Yeah. I think we talked about the actual music video in the after show. I can't remember if we talked about the change. I don't think we did. But that music video, the original one, had a lot of angry netizen comments, as a lot
Everything
of K-pop
does,
thing
yeah,
does,
everything does.
because one of the girls was like in it too much and she was like pushing her away and people were complaining, and so they re-edited the video to be more fair, quote unquote, even though it's really not.
And now people are still complaining.
Yeah, now they're like, well, how about those other two girls? No.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Because one, 11-member group is large.
Yeah.
Already, and two, like, everybody has their favorite girl from the show, and so they haven't divorced that, like, oh, that's my girl from the show. Right?
I think that's a thing that they really didn't plan on, because, you know, when Cosmic Girls comes out, right, like, you only know of a handful of them, 2 or 3, and so when one of the Cosmic Girls is in 80% of the video, some people might be like, that's a little weird, but no one's like, but how about that girl in the back? I want to see more of that girl in the back, because nobody knows who that girl in the back is.
Yeah, no one's
right?
seen what she can do and all that. But, you know, this group, every person has their own, like, cult following, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I really think if they noticed that more, they should have been more mathematical about it, right? And
mathematical.
But they didn't. They went with this, like, super low-key, super... Like, for most people, this is their introduction to 101. Because they didn't watch the show. Yeah. Right? The majority of people didn't watch the show. And it's, like, the cheapest, like... I think it's awesome, because I know it's a behind-the-scenes fun pre-debut. Look, the girls are together, but
this is
most
the first
people won't.
taste, like, for most people, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of sad, but the song itself, we've now talked about it for way too long, so let's move on.
All right, so the next song we want to talk about is Mamamoo with Woohoo!
저기 너를 볼 때 말야 함께 나눈 기억이 특별해져 너의 강한 미끌림에 빠져들어가 꿈을 꾸는 듯해 너와 내가 같이 걷는 시간 속에 둘만의 길한 빛이 가득해 처음 느낀 감각 새로워진 색깔 앞에 거부할 수 없는 너만의 매력처럼 Yeah Moonstar Life is good when you play more 더 멋진 곳으로 나가지겠어 기분 좋게 high five 저길 봐 G5 on the playground 왜 또 헤매니 여긴 이상한 나라가 아니야 Alice Alice 벌써 봐 생글레스 너는 환한 빛이 나 넘쳐 흘러 에너지 터질 듯한 내
But Mamamoo, this song, I just want to say, is not a part of their album. It is a promotional song, I think, for LG.
Yes.
And for a promotional song, damn, this song is good.
For a song.
Yeah, just for a song in general, it's
good.
pretty fucking good. Pardon my French.
Pardon my fucking French.
I mean, this song, if Steven and I decided to pick like different songs, if Steven was going to pick Crush, this would be my song of the week. It was very, very close. But Steven and I, decided to say, hey, Crush, I think we both can agree is the best song.
I think there's a very distinct reason why I think you definitely should have went with Crush. We'll talk about that in a second. But Mamamoo, right?
Yeah.
Korea's loving Mamamoo. People are loving Mamamoo.
Finally.
And, if you're a relatively new K-pop fan, within the year, like K-pop stars singing distinct new songs for companies as part of commercials has been around for a very long time.
A very, very long time.
The most famous ones are a long, long time ago, Hyori had like...
Hyori.
Yeah, Hyori. Finkel, right?
Yeah, from Finkel.
But like she made these songs for LG. Was it LG or Samsung? It was the Any Call series. I think it's Samsung.
It was pretty famous. I think it's Samsung. Yeah.
But like those songs, like in itself, those songs were super famous.
Yeah.
Like
they're, I would go as far to say they are cultural icons. Like almost everyone who grew up around that time like knew those commercials and those.
Yeah, and I remember that was actually my first exposure to Hyori was watching those things, and like after that, Boa, like they had this like weird amalgam. It was like Boa, Tablo, one of the dudes from DBSK, and like a pianist.
Yeah.
And they went by like Any Band, and they also were promoting. Yeah. So like, Girls' Generation did one for LG.
Chop the Love.
So when you hear like, oh, this is a commercial song, like
don't write it off. Like I think even Girls' Day produced a song or had a song last year that I really, really liked.
Yeah, the Hello Bubble
song. That was also a promotional song, dude. That was really, really good as well. Yeah. And like, just don't write it off if you hear like, oh, it's a promotion song.
Yeah. But so this is like pure Mamamoo.
It's so, it's so good. Like, so one, in the beginning, they have this harmonization section, and if you've never heard Mamamoo like introduce themselves on like music shows or like variety shows, they have like, every group has like an introduction, right? Like Every Day, Girls' Day, or like, whatever.
1 in a million. And twice or something
like that,
something
right?
like that.
And so Mamamoo, they like sing their name in like a harmony, and like this initial like kind of before any of the music starts, they're singing and just harmonizing, and it is so good. And, it's like it is really like just fantastic to listen to.
Your ear.
Yeah.
It was like one of those reasons why I love Pitch Perfect so much. It was like harmonizing, just voices, singing, and then the music starts, and it's like great.
This like era.
Yeah.
Of like, what did you describe it as? Like,
no, we were saying like it reminded you a lot of like maybe not stylistically with like Tina Turner and Whitney Houston, but it like reminded you of a time where like women could. Were singing powerful
like divas.
Yeah. And like that's who Mamamoo is, at least for Korea, right? Like they're no Tina Turner, right? They're no Whitney Houston, but in the Korean scene they have that ability, and they really show it off really well, much better because I think they have the R&B, right? They have the I Miss You, which is they're singing and it's powerful at times, but it's kind of building. They have their pop, the version also, but this is like in the middle. It's like pop, but
it slowed it down a little bit.
It's not a pure ballad, right? And you get to show off their singing.
It's kind of like an R&B ballad, pop R&B ballad, I would say. Yeah.
More to the pop.
More to the pop side than the R&B side, but not ballad. I mean a pop R&B kind of hit, I guess we'll say. But there is something that's very glaringly bad for Steven and I, and it's probably the reason why that we decided that Crush is the best song, is because in the middle of the song, there is a Moonbyul rap section that is just so random. And so, in my opinion, like, the rapping is good, but it's just so bad.
It's just a different song.
Yeah.
Right? Completely different thing.
Yeah. And for me, I'm really angry at the section, even though the rapping is not bad, but I'm really angry at it because the song was just so good, and I was into it, and then like they cut the rope.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's like Billy, and you're like, I'm in, and it's like, rippity rap, and you're like, what the fuck?
It really just cuts the momentum of the song.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of hoping, it's probably not true. It's probably not going to be true, but maybe the real, when you download it, doesn't have that part.
I doubt.
Maybe there's a version with it. I doubt it.
Because in that rap section, Moonbyo goes like super endorsement mode, right?
Yeah. Like pretty much, it really seems like they took an existing song, and LG was like, we need you to mention LG. We need you to mention the G5. We need you to mention Life's Good. And so Moonbyo, they were like, I'll just add in a rando rap section where
that'll include all of those like catchphrases.
Yeah. Like if you're if you go on Twitch, if you know what I'm talking about, Twitch chat, it's just fucking sell out. Because it's literally just like, we're making money now. Yeah. And then the song continues.
Yeah, and for me it's very bittersweet because Mamamoo, for Steven and I for a long time, we felt Mamamoo was very underrated.
Yeah.
In the K-pop scene, and now they're finally getting their dues, and with those dues comes commercials and money and success, and so it's great that they have this song. But I mean, other people are going to be like saying, oh, Mamamoo, they're doing the CF song, they're sellouts, and etc. etc.
I mean, I'm fine with selling out. That's not the problem. The problem is that like it came at the cost of this random rap section.
And the song was just so good. The song was so good, and they just jammed this like really awkward rap section in.
And you know what we did right after that? We checked the YouTube comments. First comment, yo, that Moonbyo part fucking killed it. And it's like, we're just different people, We're just different people. Like, I think in a totally different song, we've talked about like Moonbyo can rap. We've talked about like we listened to that very first Mamamoo album or mini album, and like all the B-side tracks were fucking hippity hop, like yo, we going hard, and I was so confused, right? Like I know Moonbyo can rap.
Yeah.
It's not about the rapping; it's about the place in the song, right? Yeah. That's what we're complaining about.
If you ever hear Steven and I talk about Frankenstein-y and how things just like are just hodgepodge together, this is the example of that song. Yeah.
But on a random side note, like I think we mentioned in the past Weekly Idol, but like I just watched the most recent Mamamoo Weekly Idol. It's fucking hilarious. You should watch it.
I watched it too. It was so good.
Mamamoo is the best at variety things because they don't know how to fucking do variety, and they're just. It's like if you took random people and put them on Weekly Idol, it's hilarious because they just don't do anything normal.
Like a lot of people, they really like K-pop idols and groups because they're like idols, right? They're like pristine and like untouchable. Yeah. But even more people, I feel like when those idols kind of like act very
acting like just like one of us.
Just like one of us. But I legitimately think like Mamamoo are just not acting. I think that's really them. And
like they look like they have so much fun, and they look like friends. They look like if you took 4 legit friends, because this is damn it. Okay, tangent, right?
Okay.
So on Reddit, this is not a bad Reddit story. It's actually a cool Reddit story. Right? You thought it'd be a bad one, but one of the members said he got in touch with Fiestar's Jessica, who had left the group. And so he was, or she, I'm not sure, was gathering questions to ask Jessica, and she would respond. And it took some time, but she finally responded. And I thought one of the most interesting parts was that one of the questions was like, hey, do you still keep in touch with your Fiestar members? Because, of course, Yezi's getting more popular. And
Fiestar is on the rise.
Yeah, CNBLUE, I think is her name, is also getting more popular. Like, do you keep in touch? And she's like, no, I don't talk to them. Like, they're probably really busy. And then there's other parts where, like, one girl was like, oh, man, I remember on this one show you said your most favorite boy star was Zello. Do you still like Zello? And she was like, yeah, actually, that was just the only boy name that I knew. So I just said I loved Zello.
Zelo.
Oh, Zelo, I don't know what his name, I mean, from BAP, right?
Yeah.
And then there was another one where, what was the hardest thing about being a K-pop star? And she was like, I'm paraphrasing, of course. Like she was like, the dancing is hard and all that stuff is hard, but she was like, the hardest part is like you can't be you, right? And like it was so. I mean, we know this. Like I think it's really obvious to some that K-pop idols like that's their job.
They're manufactured.
I don't even want to say manufacturer. Like I'm saying that's their job is to act friendly. Their job is to
be likable.
But at the end of the day, most of them are just coworkers. They're not friends, right?
Yeah.
But Mamamoo, they really do legit seem like friends, right? Like
two of them are like friends from middle school. I think. Wheein and
two of them are from one hometown and two of them from the other hometown.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I think two of them have known each other for a very long time. But they legit seem like actual friends. But like I really do think the majority of maybe not our viewers, not our but like the reaction demographic, like they legit think that like, oh man, like Big Bang, they're all fucking best friends, and like BTS, I bet you that they're all great friends, they love each other. I'm like, you take 7 random dudes, you put them together, like they're not gonna be friends, right?
Yeah.
They may be great coworkers, right? But
80% of the time, like everyone's not gonna be friends with everyone. I think.
Yeah.
And like I'm just throwing out a number like 80%, but I really think 80% of the time, like you will have a group that's just.
Yeah, if you think of any, I mean, most K-pop viewers are young and they don't understand work, right? But like, I've worked with so many nice people, so many great people, and they're great at their jobs, but friends, like...
I'm talking about integrating into your life,
like,
friends.
I have like 1 or 2 legit friends from work, right? It's so rare to and being a K-pop idol is their job. And so on Weekly Idol, even though sometimes they're funny and they're great, and Weekly Idol's great.
They have good chemistry and that.
But a lot of it is like planned. Like they do the same things, they act the same way.
Yeah, that's what I mean by manufactured. Like idols like are manufacturing their likability. You have to remember their job, as Steven says, is to be liked, is to seem like the group has this unity and this bond together, right? Because it's very attractive.
Yeah.
It's very likable, right? Yeah. And that's not the case all the time.
Like they're actors, right? That's why a lot of them can transfer to acting pretty well, because their life is 90% acting.
Yeah.
Anyways, tangent over. Let's move on to my second, I think, third favorite song, because I did like the Mamamoo song, even though it's Josh's pick. My pick is by a girl group. Surprise. We like girl group.
But Mamamoo, I think Mamamoo has like universal appeal.
True.
True.
For the record, the next 2 groups are going to be guy groups, so stay with us. This is by a relatively new group, Laboum, with their brand new song, Fresh Adventure. Yeah, I don't know. Now, Fresh Adventure, I think, actually is a pretty apt description of the type of this song.
Yeah. So usually when you hear a K-pop group or a K-pop like song title, you're just like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But this one, you hear Fresh Adventure, and what do you think?
I think this song. Well, okay, it's. I might actually think like Fresh Adventure. I might think G-Friend style, and this is not really G-Friend style.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's G-Friend style.
But it is a relatively older type of style that we don't see that much anymore.
Yeah.
Which I like. It's a quintessential kind of like to me it actually sounds like a late spring into summer transition song.
Yeah, like if Koreans were to describe the song, they would describe it like the title says, fresh. It's very like not necessarily innocent, but very kind of
It feels breezy.
a feel good song.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a feel good song, right?
It's such a breezy song to me. And like, you know, this song has this. It's very up tempo.
Yeah.
It never slows down, and and it's the chorus has again it has this syncopation to it that like.
It's like
Yeah.
beat to it.
Dun, 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 dun. And like, you know, I was in drumline in high school, and drumline was a huge part of my life, and I think that's why I like syncopation so much because it's very interesting to me.
Syncopation is kind of like I would go to say like kind of drumliney kind of songs. Yeah.
I like that rhythm ta, you know, which strangely enough, rhythm ta didn't really have that much rhythm. Shots fired, bam. People fucking really like that rhythm ta song. I mean, I like that song. It's really a decent song, but like.
I want to go on another tangent. So my students, I'm starting to teach girls now because we moved schools, and my students say I really look like Icon's Chanu, which is the guy.
Who's that guy?
The guy that was bullied by B.I. and Bobby, and we talked about a while ago. And so every time I will walk in the halls or like enter a classroom in a class, they will like rap rhythm ta to me.
I think it's your hair.
It's my hair right now.
More
it's
than
my hair
your
right
face.
now, yeah.
Or the fact that like, maybe they think you're always bullied. I don't know. I think that's pretty hilarious. Your tangent's not as long-winded as mine.
Yeah.
But, you know, another cool thing about this Laboum song is, like, you know, Laboum's been around for a while. We mention them as kind of like the new group. Like, they came out at the time of Lovelyz and G-Friend, but they were kind of, you know, Lovelyz got their attention, and G-Friend, of course, has skyrocketed past all of them. But Laboum really wasn't getting much attention. And so it's kind of cool, actually, like, Suzy from Miss A, you know.
Totally different company, right?
Totally different company. Everybody loves Suzy. I love Suzy.
Who doesn't love Suzy?
Oh, Suzy, you're so pretty. Why haven't I seen you in things? Anyways, so I think she put it on Twitter that, like, this was, like, her favorite song for right now. Yeah. And, like, you know, I think it was Instagram or Twitter. I don't remember.
Instagram. It was
Instagram, and it got, like, 90K likes. And then, like, this song went from... Exploded... momentarily exploded up the charts in Korea. Like,
it was trending for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think they have like an actual top, you know, top chart, you know, top 20 chart. Then they have like the up and trending kind of chart, and it moved up 290 places to be like number one at that time. And so it was cool, right? I think that's cool that Suzy's allowed to do that, right? Yeah. Like she effectively,
it's not for a company,
yeah, just gave free advertising. Actually, I think I did read that she went to middle school with one of the girls in Laboum, and so like I think there are like pictures of like them together and hanging out. So it wasn't just like total selfless like I like this rando group song, but still like I think it's really cool that like
that she gave him a shout out.
Yeah, she gave him a shout out, and also like how much power
Suzy has,
or like if G Dragon like recommends a song, I'm sure like instantly like 100,000 girls are listening to it, and that's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
But you know what else is crazy to me? The support that we've gotten on Patreon. 2 weeks ago, we mentioned that we started this Patreon, which is a crowdfunding donation kind of service, and and we were blown away on our after show how many people donated, and even more people donated since then.
Yeah.
And we are now currently at the time of this recording at $193 per month on
Pushing on
Patreon,
200.
pushing on 200. Maybe you're gonna be tired of me saying this. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say it anyways.
Yeah.
But our main goal is to get $400 by the middle of May, so about May 15th, which means that there's about a month left to get that first goal, which is at $400. And that first goal mainly is that I will stay in Korea so that me and Josh can continue to record the podcast in person.
Yeah.
We will, of course, try. Our full intention is to continue the podcast afterwards. No matter what.
Yeah.
But it will be adding A, 14-hour time difference between us. B, we'll have to go back to not being in the same room, using webcams, using other
sounds,
things.
yeah.
And we did that for a very long time.
And it worked at that time, but
Actually, me and you have never recorded a
podcast
via Skype.
Yeah. We've only done reactions via Skype.
Yeah. I used to do it with Kelvin a long time ago.
Yeah, and a lot of you might be asking, well, Josh and Steven, this might be the first time you're hearing it, that why May 15th? Why is there a time limit on raising $400 in that time? The reason for that is because around the first or second week of May, we're going to have to decide whether or not we want to stay another year.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the time limit that we want to set so Steven can have some time to decide if he wants to stay another year or not, based off of, the Patreon donations.
Yeah, our contracts end in August, so May's a good time because then you gotta do a lot of preparing, right? You gotta prepare, hopefully find a job home or move all your shit.
And I think around that time, May is like the official time where you have to officially sign a document.
But yeah, so we want to say, we're about halfway through. It's only been 2 weeks. Like, we were blown away by the support that we got in the first 20
It was really fast. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I fully expected us to have less than $50 at this point.
Yeah.
Like, no lie.
And we've been, one of the perks of donating $5 or more is joining our Slack channel. And Slack is this kind of group messaging app that a lot of people use for offices, but it's a really, really good way to kind of interact with each other. And it started kind of slowly, but like right now there's a lot of people talking on Slack,
a lot of activity,
to each other. Like, our fans are talking to each other because a lot of people who watch this podcast or listen to the podcast don't have anybody else to talk K-pop with.
Yeah.
And if you join our Slack channel, like, you will instantly have not only us two to talk to, because we do talk a lot, but people from around the world on the Slack channel.
And I think that this is one of your best ideas, Stephen, because I am like really so happy. I find so much like satisfaction from finding people talking to each other, just like, oh, thanks for posting this video, or like, man, this thing is really awesome that we can talk to each other. Like, that really brings me a lot of happiness because, Stephen and I really strive to introduce really new music to you and also kind of give you, a chingu to talk to about, these things.
Yeah. And we got like a lot of people, like, so in Slack you can set up your own channels. So like, I made a Twice channel. We can talk all, when we can think about it.
Twice.
Yeah. We made a produced channel. But like, our listeners made like a K-drama channel, an indie channel, an events channel,
a
recommend channel.
Yeah.
And like, you can make pretty much any channel you want.
Yeah.
And so we want to give a very, very special shout out to two people who are very, very kind to donate $25 or more per month, which is fucking huge. One of them, the very first one, is Makai T, who talks a lot on Slack, and of course,
I think she goes by the handle MBabyBlue or something.
Yes. And so we want to give a huge shout out to you. I mean, you have been an amazing supporter of us, and we see you in the comments a lot. Yeah. Talk to you on Slack a lot, but now everybody else knows you are essential to our K-pop.
Yeah, you a chingu for sure.
What's the higher level of chingu?
You a patron. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
A pachingu. And now we have another really awesome chingu.
You a real friend. You a real friend, right?
Why don't you say his name?
Okay, so his name, we weren't sure what to refer to you as because there were a few names.
There were conflicting names on the Patreon sign up and the Slack sign up.
So we'll just say your name based off your Slack, and that's Artin. Thanks so much for your donation. Like, your support really, really, really does help us. Like, we really cannot say enough, like, how much this means to us. And, just thank you.
And you just started talking on Slack, so hopefully you talk a lot more. And, of course, there were, 20 other people. We're going to talk about some of their names in the after show. Yeah. But, there were tons of people who donated just $2 just to support us without, a shout out. I wish we could shout out everybody, but, we only have so much to give, and so we want to highlight the super chingas, right? The Suzies of our chingas, the Tsuyus of our chingas, the visuals of our chingas,
the centers
of our chingas. All right, moving on, Josh.
All right, so the next song that we're gonna talk about is a boy group.
Woo!
They're,
Penises.
They're called CNBLUE with their song "You're So Fine."
친구들이 날 보고 난 뒤 하나같이 말해 넌 능력이 좋아 완벽한 chemistry 서로가 바쁠 때면 애교 섞인 셀피로 대답하는 girl 남자들은 다 똑같대 처음에만 잘해준대 널 보면 그런 말 못해 매일매일 새로운 데 부끄럽지만 못 믿을 말 한 번 할게 이렇게 예뻐 나 성격에 두 번 놀라 날 보며 웃는 매력적인 눈 이젠 익숙해질 법도 할 텐데 이렇게 예뻐 나 센스에 매번 놀라 귀 간지러운 너의 그 말투 이젠 지겨워질 법도 할 텐데 Oh baby love is good Oh baby love is good Oh baby only you This girl so fine
Sounds like a song that like I'd expect Jay Park to sing, right?
I know.
You're so fine.
Like it'll be a song about making babies and stuff. And about how he gets bitches all the time, but you the bitch. You the main bitch.
Well, I guess it could be that, or it could be a more Joa kind of song.
Damn it!
Maybe.
No, you are Chico J Park. We just got a head tattoo.
That's true. I did get a head tattoo.
So this song, we do have to warn you, if you are a big fan of CNBLUE, this song sounds exactly like CNBLUE's style of song. It sounds very, very much like their last song, Cinderella, in my opinion, and
like a more poppy one.
More poppy ones, and they kind of added like a brass section to it, and I'm a really big sucker for brass as well. But it does have like a funky bass.
It has this cool kind of funky bass line.
Yeah, and I think that makes the song really, really catchy. Like, I like CNBLUE as a group, but their songs can get a little bit, samey, right? So I do like him as a group, but when they put out a new song, I'm never like, wow, amazing.
Yeah.
But this song is a little bit better than, I think, good.
And they don't release that many songs, They usually, I think, we checked, they release like one song per year, right? One single, right?
Song,
and we were listening to some of the, the Cinderella, and then we listened to
So Into, what is that song? So Into You? No. What is it? Oh, we just looked it up.
Shit. All right, it doesn't matter. But like, we were like, man. I even was like, oh wait, did I click on the wrong song? Because this song sounds very familiar. But this one is definitely the happiest and the poppiest, I think, of the last two.
Sounds very bright.
It called So Good?
So Good or
something good?
So fine. But
You're so fine? I don't know. Whatever. So I did enjoy this song. I don't know if I'm gonna download it, to be honest. Like, I've never been a huge fan of CNBLUE. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. They are very a pop band.
Yeah.
They do play their instruments very well. I think all of them are pretty good artists in terms of musicians, likewise. But their songs have always been pretty
like, I don't really think they evolved
generic.
much, really.
Yeah, very generic.
But maybe that's because I don't spend a lot of time listening to CNBLUE, so I'm sure there's some whatever what's their fandom, probably Bluers, the CNBLUers. They might be like, oh man, they've evolved so much, blah blah blah. I don't really think so. So I've never super liked CNBLUE, but I think this was, at least in the last two, I like this one the most.
Yeah,
for sure.
This song I think is definitely worth a listen. For me myself, I wouldn't necessarily download it, but I would like go and listen to it like by itself. Like,
I think it comes on, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, who does CNBLUE?
I'll jam to it, but it's not a song that I will like go out of my way to listen to.
I do like CNBLUE more than FT Island, though, for sure.
Yeah, same as me. And also Let Apple as well. Like, those are three kind of
the three
quote, big
idol bands.
pop idol bands. Yeah.
I mean, we got Day 6 now.
Oh, that's true. Day 6.
But they're a very different style.
They're very different sound than the other three.
Yeah, which there's only 5 now. Fucking with my brain. You know what's just fucking with my brain? This next group. The next group is also a boy group, although a temporary one. I'm not really sure.
There's boys in it.
There's definitely they are boys. They're
only boys.
They're not men in the slide. They are boys. This is SM's rookie program
showcase group.
I don't know. There's probably a lot of SM people that are like, how do you not know the exact details of this? And I'm like, A, we are not the target demographic for this.
We're not the target demographic.
B, it's confusing as fuck, okay?
We took like 5 minutes trying to figure it out and we could not.
5 whole entire minutes. Anyway, so this is, they're called NCT U with their song, The Seventh Sense.
차가운 세상 눈을 감고 침대에 누워도 귀를 막고 어제가 오늘의 여지 늘 늦은 자책만 가득한 채 We'll take it slow Baby baby we'll take it slow 같은 꿈 마치 날 부르는 익숙한 노래 마침내 연결돼 감싸주지 나를 해를 섬에 반복되는 매일도 괜찮다고 깊은 어둠 위를 걸어 저 너머에 숨겨진 진짜를 봐 Open your eyes 조용히 open your eyes Open your eyes Open your eyes 이제는 open your eyes open your eyes Open your eyes 조용히 open your eyes Open your eyes Open your eyes 이제는 open your eyes 어려지지 않은 미움과 나를 괴롭히는 꿈 저 시계는 나를 비웃듯 한치 오차 없이 가 엉망진창 나도 날 모르겠어 어둡게 색칠된 미래 홍적돼 더 새까맣게 이 밤에 더 지르르 차가운 세상 눈을 감고 침대에 누워도 귀를 막고 어제가 오늘의 여지 늘 늦은 자책만 가득한 채 We'll take it slow Baby baby we'll take it slow
Now, think to yourself real quick. Josh knows the answer. I know the answer, but think, what could NCT possibly mean?
So when I first heard it, I was like, maybe next up, right? Like maybe they're doing some weird, like next,
Nice
to you.
Sure, we've heard worse.
Right? Nice to you. Maybe.
And we know sometimes they don't make sense. You know, BAP. Even though BAP's name is kind of dumb, right? Best, absolute, perfect. It does kind of make sense in like we're the best. We're perfect, right? We're absolutely perfect, right?
And BTS, right? Their name is based off of their Korean name, which is kind of weird if I hear it in Korean.
Every Korean, even the super fans in my middle school class, I'm like, that's a dumb name. They're like, it's a dumb name. It is a dumb, because it's like the English translation is what bulletproof Boy Scouts, right?
Yeah.
But there are things like M Black, right? Music.
Best music boys love absolute quality
in that live music boys live in absolute quality,
something like that.
Anyways, NCT stands for Neo Culture Technology.
You know, when I first saw this, I thought, it's like when you're in college and you're like signing up for like electives and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to take a NCT 160 next semester.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the NCT? Neo Culture Technology 160.
Yeah.
It's where you learn about computers and stuff. And when I heard
Neo-culture.
NCT, I was like, oh, this sounds like a college program. And then Steven was like, Neo Culture Technology. I was like, yep.
But it sounds like one of those trash electives that like is like
You
an
just
easy
take
A.
it. You take it just to get A's,
It's like a 1 hour class, and it's just some dude who's like shows up high and like doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah, that's that Neo Culture Technology. Now, the U, we weren't really sure, but this is like, so there are 5 guys, I think, but only 4 of them are in this, or are there 6 guys and only 5 of them are in this song?
Something like that. Oh my goodness. So one of those. So basically, it's like one of those guys is not.
Dance.
Yeah, he's not. Apparently, he's not a very good dancer. So he's not in this song in this music video.
Okay, there's 6 guys.
Yeah.
5 of them are in the 7th sense.
Yeah.
But there are also 2 Chinese members that are not in the U unit. And I think maybe there might be more from a bunch of different countries. Because like the whole idea is supposedly like
kind of this global appeal.
Which EXO tried, right? They had the Chinese version and the Korean version,
XLM, right?
and then they kind of gave up on that and just smushed them all together, and then they started hemorrhaging members. But like, they haven't been, well, at least as far as I know. Again, there's SM super fans that are like, you don't know anything, you know nothing, Jon Snow, right? But I don't think they've been XOK and XOM for quite a while, right?
They've released songs as like separate entities, and I think even to this day they're still XOM, XOK, but they don't really promote like separately anymore.
So they still have like there's an XOM version of like Let Me Write, an XOK version of Let Me Write, and an XOM version of.
I don't think they separate
like
by
their
groups
winter
anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they just separate it by either like language and like they include all the members because they don't have 12 anymore. But I remember there was an XOK.
Yeah, in the beginning it was very
XOK,
clear.
XOM.
This is the K version, this is the M version, and they wouldn't cross pollinate.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're probably idiots, and there's probably someone yelling at us. But anyways, let's talk about this song. So this song is very interesting because
super interesting.
So this is SM, and this song, at least the 7th sense. The other song that they picked is kind of very generic,
esoteric, generically weirdness.
Yeah, but this song is like Korean underground hip hop style.
Yeah, it's this weird marriage of this kind of like dirty sounding hip hop.
Yeah.
Like really like long drawn out basses.
Yeah.
But this kind of a little bit of an electronic feel to it, but also a pop feel to it.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why we want to talk about it is just because it's so interesting. Yeah.
Like they're like SM. This is a very stark.
Yeah. This is something
difference.
SM you wouldn't imagine SM would do.
I couldn't even imagine YG doing this, right? Like this is like, the thing is, the song itself, we've heard this song. We've heard this song from a lot of underground music videos that we don't feature on the show, but we hear them a lot. Like every week, there's probably one song that sounds exactly like this in the Korean underground kind of scene. We don't really like songs like this. I think one of the closest ones you said was maybe Bastard. There's a song by Bastard. I think the song's called All. But it's like has that kind of bass. It's like kind of dirty. Right?
Yeah, it's a little bit kind of like grinded out sound.
Yeah.
If you guys get what I'm saying, I mean,
you heard a little snippet of it. But also like, because when EXO first came out, they made a really big deal about the dancing. Yeah. Right. And I think, of course, Growl is really great for dancing, and Love Me Right. They've been doing a lot of dancing things, but like, the way they showcased the dancing in this music video, I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah,
it was shot really well.
Yeah, so if you aren't watching the video version and you haven't seen the video itself, they kind of have this really interesting red filter. It's very basic.
Yeah.
Very, very basic. And they're just dancing. Yeah. But there's also like the filter and there's an angle to it.
Yeah, but it's not like the EXO where it's like going in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
At least for the dancing section, right?
Yeah. Like for me, like that's kind of like esoteric and artsy done in a right way.
It's kind of like a weird mix of like the Drake kind of thing where it's like just a simple black background with a little bit of color. Yeah. Better dancing.
Yeah.
But it's also mixed with generic idol close-ups and like the outfits are horrible.
So the outfits are very, as Steven and I described, like SM hip hop. So, or very Korean kind of mainstream hip hop, because for us, like Steven's from Texas and I'm from California, like I wouldn't say we're hood or anything, but we know like hip hop culture. We've been exposed to hip hop culture.
You more than me, but yeah.
Yeah, like American hip hop culture. And for me, like it goes through some trends, but like if these guys wore this like in America, they would be like really looked at kind of in a strange way, because this is very Korean hip hop style.
But it's like Korean hip hop style
with like flair
ramped up, like with that idol
flair.
Because all idol clothes is gonna look strange if anyone's wearing it, right?
That's true.
But like this is like, and it's like hip hop, but it's like 90s hip hop, right?
They have like very 90s elements in it. Like someone has like a headband that looks like very kind of
very cholo-y, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's PC to say that, but it's very cholo-y. Yeah. Like at least his hair wasn't in cornrows, right?
It might have been. It might have been in like braids or something, but it was very.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was. But like, just the outfits. The thing is, like, if you want to, at least for us, right? Yeah. We are not the demographic for us, right?
No, we are not.
I think 14-year-old girls might have their mind explode by how like that they look, which is so different than most SM artists, right?
That's true.
But for us as grown-ass men, like, I personally hate it when people are trying to look too hard, when they are obviously not hard, right? And this is like everything I hate about this look, this hip-hop look, which is just like, if it just focused on their dancing, if it was all about the dancing, like it, I think it should be. I think there actually is a dance version. We didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But like, you strip out the crazy outfits. You strip out all the close-ups of their face, which I know has a point, but like, if it was just the showcase on the dancing, I would have been like, holy shit, I'm in.
Yeah, for me, the huge problem comes with this. The way the music video is shot and the way the dancing and like just the whole production level is kind of presented, it's a very simple but very intriguing kind of music video for me. But then when you look at the concept and like the outfits, it's not simple. It's not intriguing. They're very loud, very like contrasty.
Yeah,
like,
very busy.
Very noisy is what we would say. I mean, that sounds like really like old men thing to say, but for a video that's kind of like stripped down and like they have this red filter and it's very, for me, very basic, but like good. They kind of mess it up by having these outfits that don't really match it. Yeah. Like I would really like it if they just kept things more simple.
Yeah. I mean, that's why like Udorong was such a great music video, because it was so simple. And then they like kind of ramped it up and Let Me Write and stuff like that. And and like these dudes are obviously better dancers, or at least they're given more choreography than EXOs, right? Like these dudes, and there was like previous, I think, videos of them dancing as part of the SM Rookies stuff, if I recall correctly, and like it was pretty good, like it was cool. And it's, the thing is though, like the song, I don't like this song. I really don't like this song.
It's not our kind of song. Let's just say that, right?
Like it's one of those things where it's like, there are better versions of this song. There are, every 2 weeks or every month we hear a better version of this song by a dude you'll never hear of, because
he has like less than 1,000 views on his his video, whatever.
And like we just, this is not our style, but I also think there's going to be millions of people that are like, man, SM's taking this risk, and
I've never heard this before.
Never heard of this before. Yeah,
and you'll be right, but there are other options. There are.
We've heard
who've done
those
this.
options,
Yeah.
so I think that's why we're not super impressed by the actual song. But the idea of it is very interesting. Like,
it's very groundbreaking.
If they debut, if this is a real group, are they going to go with this style? But then that question was kind of answered with their other song, and the other song is like a ballady, poppy.
It's very, very
thing.
poppy. Very poppy, yeah.
Absolutely unimpressive, at least for us too. So maybe this was just like that rando trial thing, right? But like, it is kind of interesting that they at least tried this, right?
Yeah. For me, like, I really hope they clear up this whole kind of group and like subgroup like whole issue. And
is this
confusion.
even a group, or is it just a trial?
I really wish they would clear it up, because for me, the choreography is good, right? The boys can dance, but the problem they have is that they don't sync their movements with each other. Like, if you watch if you watch one dancer, like, looks like he's doing good, but like if you kind of like blur your eyes and look at them as a whole, like there are some minor kind of like not sharpness that you will see in like an EXO video, right? Like,
I didn't think that at all. I thought they did way better than EXO.
When I watched this video, like there were times where I was like, oh, that's a little bit off, or like, oh, that's not as high as like his hand. Like,
really?
Yeah, there was.
And you think EXO's is better?
I wouldn't say it's better one or the other, but I really felt like there was kind of like confusion amongst like, okay, we're this group or we're that group, because I wouldn't go as far as say it looks sloppy, but it definitely looked like something they were experimenting with and they weren't sure this was the final product kind of feel.
I didn't get that feel at all.
It just might just be me, but when I was watching the video, like I watched it maybe like two, 3 times, and
like I thought it was the most natural type of choreography. Like for example, I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast, but there's I really liked, and then I kind of showed you a couple of videos of there's this dance studio in Korea.
Yeah,
it's called 1 Million.
Yeah, 1 Million Dance Studio.
Yeah, find them on YouTube.
Amazing.
They have a lot of songs, and it's like a dance studio. They teach people, you can sign up. We can go there right now and sign up for lessons. They teach blah, blah, blah. And so they do dance choreography to a shit ton of songs, right?
Yeah.
But like, I thought it was way more akin to that style, where like, they're not perfect. They're not all together, but like, they have kind of flavor. They have kind of different flavor, and it was much more real choreography as opposed to K-pop choreography, which is different.
I will agree with you on that. It does, like, I think that's what I'm commenting on. It's not like K-pop like cut. We're all in sync, but the moves are kind of like just moves, right? Like, it definitely, everyone looks like they're kind of dancing in their own style, but the same choreography. And maybe like, it's just strange for me. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just strange for me to see like this group confusion is like, they're learning this choreography, but it looks like they're learning it by themselves and not like as part of a group.
No, I don't. I was with you until that end, man. I thought it looked great together. Like, again, kind of like 1 Million. Like, they learned it all together and they do it all together, and I thought it seemed like that to me. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you guys can watch the video yourself and see if you agree more with me or more with Steven. Like, leave some comments down. I'd really love to hear what you say.
It's never me.
I mean, some people agree with you sometimes, so.
Yeah, even my parents don't agree with me. No, I was kidding. All right, well, that's it for the first part of our podcast where we talked about mostly what we really liked. We will have, of course, a part 2 where we talk more about some of the songs that we thought were okay, but you should stick around anyways because you like us, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Here we go, part 2.
Yeah.
Josh, why don't you start part dos?
Okay, so the first song I'm going to talk about in part 2 is Chen Hae's Ryu Jae-hyun's Little Something.